capital A with a circle around it. So I have no cognitive bias. I have no dog in this fight. Just to let you know where I'm coming from. So, America is about to get screwed big time. And it's because of the people that you just put in power. And it's not to say that the other people in putting them in power was a good decision. It was just a less worse decision. You put in a fox to run the hen house. Actually, a few of them. Let's talk about Donald Trump for a minute. A tariff is a tax. It is a tax upon consumers. That's you and me. All of us. There is no other way around it. He can't redefine that term. A tariff is a tax. And he's creating a trade war with our three largest trading partners. Ridiculous. Now, if you want to see inflation go through the roof, that's what you do. Inflation was actually slowly starting to taper off, and it was a worldwide phenomenon. It was a global phenomenon. It was not a U.S. thing. And yet most people that voted for Trump voted for him because they thought the economy was doing bad. The entire world's economy was doing bad, and it was actually improving. Now it's going to go to shit. Now, let me tell you why. I just told you that a tariff is a tax, that Donald Trump does not have jurisdiction to change the definition of a tariff in other countries and to, quote-unquote, make them pay. It's not going to happen. And in fact, they will impose their own tariffs against the United States, which will hurt us as well. It's going to be a world of shit. And if you think that we can just turn on a spigot and start making all that food and oil and electronics and all the stuff that comes into this country from those other three countries and some other ones that he wants to put tariffs on, you have no idea what you're talking about. And you don't understand the laws of economics. And speaking of the laws of economics, you're probably not familiar with them, just like Elon Musk and Donald Trump are not familiar with them. You ask them guys, what is the bullwhip effect? What is Difference Dilemma? What is the Cantillon effect? You ask them anything about the laws of economics, and they won't understand those. And they're not laws in the sense that they're written laws. These are laws that are akin to the laws of nature, like the laws of gravity. You can't break the laws of gravity. You can't break the laws of thermodynamics, just like you cannot break the laws of economics. So, these guys are madmen. They're crazy. And here's what else is coming. And this is really sad. If you depend on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, well, you're about to get screwed. So, they won't use terms like cut or eliminate or reduce. The terms that they'll use is something like reform. It's the same thing, but it's a nicer, softer term, just to make you feel good. You don't think that's coming? Listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're saying and their cohorts. And I wish you'd listen to some talks by Warren Buffett, who thinks that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are ridiculous. They think that the national debt has to be paid off or reduced somehow. The United States is a very different country than all the other countries in the world because it has the world reserve currency. That means that it can borrow against itself, its own currency. It can actually print the money and borrow from itself. No other country can do that because the U.S. has the only world reserve currency. And get this, it's called Social Security insurance. People forget that that word is in there. Insurance is in that phrase. And insurance is a unilateral contract, meaning that only one party has an obligation to uphold their end of the agreement other than the extraction that you were forced to pay, the 13% of your income. The party that has to keep their end of the agreement because it's, get this, it's the law, it's written into law that it has to be funded, is the federal government. And now, Elon Musk and Donald Trump trying to back out of that. And they're also trying to have the federal government buy 1 million bitcoins. Boy, that's some nefarious bullshit right there. At the same time, the richest man in the world, who has made billions of dollars from government contracts, is telling you that you need to take a haircut, that you need to have your benefits reduced, cut, eliminated. But again, he'll call it reform, because he's telling you that the federal government, the budget, can be cut by $2 trillion a year, and yet his buddy, Mr. Donald Trump, is saying, no, we need, hey, on the other hand, we need to increase the already bloated military-industrial complex budget that is larger than the next 5 budgets for militaries in the world combined. It's insanity. Now, I'm not even worried about the BRICS nations, and that's some bullshit that they're talking about. Oh, they're going to compete against us. No, they're not. Nobody else in the world will accept that right now. 54% of all global trade on the planet is done in U.S. dollars. There's no other way to get around that proliferation, and none of those other countries have the trust that the U.S. dollar and the U.S. treasuries have. They don't. They don't have the trust to do that. They'll never trade at a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about paying off or paying down national debt. We don't have honest money anyway. Nobody does. It doesn't exist. What we do have is two extremely out-of-touch humans in the White House now that are going to cause an awful lot of pain for you and me. There's no other way around it. And I have no idea how people could listen to the man talk and not know that he's just lying through his teeth. Both of these guys. I don't care that Elon Musk is a brilliant engineer. That doesn't mean that he knows anything about the laws of economics, and that he went to the Wharton Business School with, the same school that Trump went to. You can't run a country like a business. If you do, you may as well have an authoritarian dictatorship that is just ruthless and cold to its people. And that's about what you're going to get here real quick. If you don't understand economics, then you shouldn't be talking about it. And you certainly shouldn't be voting for people who are telling you economic policies that don't make any sense. They don't make any sense. You tell me where you're going to get $2 trillion from. Tell me. Elon Musk hasn't even looked at the books, and he's telling you that he can cut $2 trillion. He's full of shit. Unless, yeah, that's right. If he cuts Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. If he cuts those things, yep, he might be able to. He probably could come up with $2 trillion. But your country will be a third world country overnight. I mean overnight. A lot of people will be dying because you've built a system that depends on those things. And again, it's a unilateral contract. This is a legal contract that the government is obliged to pay, to fund. But the fall guy is going to be Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They'll get the federal government out of that. No reason to. Again, they have the world reserve currency. They don't need to pay off the debt or even pay it down. Sorry about that. That's not necessary. Anyway, I guess I'm about done with my rant. I could go on further and talk about some of these other ridiculous policies, like getting rid of all the people that produce your food and build your houses. You don't think that's going to cause inflation? Wow. want to build some Hoovervilles, and if you're not familiar with what that is, you should look it up. I'll just briefly tell you. Hoovervilles were the shanty towns that were created by Herbert Hoover's policies. Herbert Hoover extended and made worse the Great Depression by means of, get this, tariffs. During President Trump's, President Trump, during the last presidential office or term that Trump held, God, I can't even say that. It's so gross. He already cost you $80 billion because of tariffs that he imposed. And you didn't even know that because nobody's talking about it. Now it's going to cost you a lot more this time. Maybe $80 billion would be like a blessing compared to what he's about to do. I'm sorry, America. You're fucked. I'm fucked. We're all fucked. And I hope you didn't depend on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid being there. Remember, here's what they're going to say. They're not going to say cut, eliminate, reduce. They're going to say the word reform. It sounds nice, doesn't it? It's not that bad, right? It's the same thing. And it's coming. Bye-bye.